Someone asked for an update, so I thought I'd take a quick trip around the fish room. In this tank I've got a male flower horn and a female red mammon. As you can see by the rock, they've spawned again. They tend to have infertile eggs. I don't expect any babies, but they're happy. Next to that I have a 60 cube. Originally I just had some South American puffers in this tank, but I've since added some silver dollars and a couple of red Texas, but they still have the puffers still doing their thing. They tend to hang in the back of the tank and like to go up and down, so as long as they're happy, I'm happy. Next to that tank I've got a 120 acrylic that's 4 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. I've got some geophagus, some catfish, flower horn, some young giant gouramis all growing up in here. It's one of the red tail true giant gouramis. Some of the Giripari geophagus, another gourami, red Texas, a hoplo type catfish, and next to them I have it's around 120 gallon cube tank that I had constructed out of acrylic. Obviously there's a giant gourami in here. This is an albino giant gourami. I've just got one at the house. I've got a couple spread out, but they all turned out to be what I think are males, so I split them up. Got some silver dollar ditherfish in there. Some red devils that have just grown up in there, and a wild barred red devil. The big guy kind of likes to take center stage when I'm looking at the aquarium. Underneath the big tank I've got a tank that has a couple of dwarf gouramis and some feeder crayfish in it, and below that on the bottom shelf got another homemade tank that houses a colony of the orange dwarf Mexican crawdads. Finally got this group going pretty well. Lots of different sizes. That's what my intention was. And next to that tank I've got it's around 125 gallon acrylic tank filled with mostly red devils. Got the original ones from a friend who got them from Rusty Wessel down in Louisburg. No, Louisville, not Louisburg. One's in Kansas, one's in Kentucky. Across from that I've got a couple of 29 gallon bio cubes, and one houses one of my molly projects and some plecos and whatnot, and the other one houses my homegrown red Texas cichlid. Got him by doing some different crosses with Texas cichlids and red mammons and flower horns. I think he's a very pretty fish. Over on this rack I've got some small tanks on top that just have some bettas and whatnot in them. Then I've got a larger tank in the middle section houses my two leucistic giant grammies and some red devils and some hoplo cats and a whole bunch of aggravating Honduras red points. They just keep living, growing, and having babies. That's just what they do. They're kind of hard to get rid of. On the bottom rack I've got some small tanks. One of them's got some swordtails I'm growing out. Another's got another group of mollies that I'm crossing and raising, and the other has a group of wild live bears in it. Oh, here we go. They're kind of in an awkward place to see right now. Stuck in this back corner, got a tank that houses some young grow out bettas. These came from a pair of plaquette koi bettas, so I'm hoping that some of these will be interesting when they grow up. They're just now starting to really take form and grow, so we'll know pretty soon how they're going to do and what they're going to look like. This kind of cute little acrylic tank houses some catfish and a young Thai silk flower horn. Camera's not wanting to focus this angle. I'm afraid it's going to be short body, which I'm not really that excited about, but starting to get a little bit of a hump on his head, so he's growing, doing well. Kind of next to him is a turtle tank. Got 3 different semi-aquatic turtles in here. Got a Texas map turtle, a painted turtle, and a diamondback terrapin. He's the most chill turtle of the group. Underneath that tank is another tank. Doesn't have a whole lot going on in it. I've got a couple of turtles that we found, a baby red-eared slider and a baby painted turtle, along with a small group of albino white clouds and some catfish and Plecostomus are hanging around in there somewhere too. Opposite that is kind of a failed saltwater tank. I've still got a couple of fish in here. It's a failure from one standpoint in that it crashed. The only fish that survived was a little blue chromis. But the successful part of it was that in the Chado I had some sheep's head minnows in the tank, and they had spawned in the Chado, and I have a few babies. I don't see any swimming around right now that hatched, so kind of like my first successful saltwater spawn of fish. Next to that is a Marineland cube. I've got just a wide variety of tropical fish in here. Some pretty cool barred silver dollars. Got some plecos, cory cats. Different things lurking about. Around the corner from there, I have an old Pemco or metal framed 40 breeder with some mollies in there, some plecos in there, but main fish is a decent sized Fahaka puffer. He doesn't do much, but I like him. Underneath there I have a 20 long that houses some, I'm probably not saying it right, Tambasa goldfish I got from my friend Gary. They're starting to get a little size to them. I kind of started with goldfish in the 70s and really still enjoy them a lot. Kind of across from there I've got about a 60-gallon acrylic tank that's got some now getting old electric blue acaras along with some swordtails. Kind of a quiet tank. And above there I've got about a 75-gallon acrylic tank that houses a number of goldfish, different color varieties and body types. And some real pretty plecos that are probably hiding for the most part. I can see the red tail of a red-tailed sternella hanging out there. And next to that tank I have a wide 125 acrylic tank that houses my pair of red pike cichlids. She's gonna go hide now. And my crazy fish, my always growing red-tailed catfish. He'll need a bigger spot someday. Right across from there I have what I would call basically a mixed tank or an African tank. I've got some silver dollars in it. I've got a couple of frontosa, yellow lab, and then a big old homegrown red Severum cross that I just keeping around. Just keeps living. I've had it for a long time. But this is a 135-gallon acrylic tank. Got some pretty nice Synodontis catfish in there too. And a few little shell dwellers. These are the multifasciatus. And across the room from these tanks have a couple more racks. Top tank is got swordtails, guppies, and a few goldfish in it. A few plants. One next to it is kind of my nano tank. I've got some of the wild live bears, I've got some endlers, got some pygmaceus catfish, and some chili rasboras all mixed in here. Trying to keep some plants growing, and have a little bit of variety of small fish mixed up in here, and some shrimp too. I've got some shrimp that I've got from different sources in here, including Rachel O'Leary, so I got the pygmaceous catfish from also. Below that I've got another what I'd call basically African oriented tank. It's got frontosa to peekaboo and some hawks and some clown loaches milling around in it. Below that I've got my $40-gallon tank with multifasciatus in it. It's basically just, that's their colony tank. I need to thin it again probably. I find the shell dwellers very fascinating. And the battery is running out. I've got a salt tank up here that's got a few soft corals in it and a few fish. Got a 30 breeder up here with another molly project going on. Got a 100-gallon tank on the middle rack that houses just some mainly South American fish. There's some geophagus in here, parrotfish, and a little flower horn grow out. Everybody's camera shy. And on the bottom rack, swordtail projects. I got a 20-gallon with some different colors I'm crossing, and a 55-gallon again with some cories and a lot of different color and fin type swordtails that I'm crossing. That's it. That's the fish tour for today.